I was gone. I've come back. And in my time away, like, I think Aiden did an amazing job. I was very happy to have him on. I think you guys had some nice conversation. But at the same time, some slander was spoken in my absence. Now, I have no issue with you guys, like, giving your opinions. That's fine. But I think when a podcast puts out misinformation, that's dangerous. It was put in text that Transformers Revenge of the Fallen is a cinematic masterpiece, and I take great umbrage with that fact.
Oh, okay.
Because you guys did not instead mention The Last Night, because that is the true cinematic masterpiece. That is a film wherein which Mark Wahlberg threatens to punch a child, and Anthony Hopkins yells at Asian tourists. It's a masterpiece, and you guys you didn't even bring it up. I thought I trained you.
I thought you were going to talk about Aiden's mispronunciation of Evangelion.
Yeah,
I don't watch this podcast. I watched it. I'll be blunt. I watched the first minute. That was it.
I can't
Welcome
exactly
to Urgent Re-Rate.
Yeah.
Who the fuck watches this podcast?
I know, right?
Why would
Who would do
Why
that?
would you? Honestly, out of everything you could be doing, why not watch something else?
But he mispronounced Evangelion? How could he?
I can't remember exactly, but it was like Evangelion or
He
something.
said Evangelion. Evangelion at the end.
Oh, my
Even
skin just
we
crawled.
don't watch this podcast.
Nah, fuck it.
We saw that it just goes into an editing booth, and then about 2 hours later, we're high on cocaine, and it's come out with something.
It was like I gave mine to the bear, and it just went off and had some fun.
That looks good, though.
I want to see that. It looks so much fun.
Isn't Elizabeth Banks directing it?
Elizabeth Banks is making it? I didn't even know
I
it was...
swear I heard that somewhere. I could be very wrong.
I'm now even more interested. I love her.
That's the best thing about podcasts. You don't need to fact check anything you're saying.
Nothing.
You can just
Absolutely
say
nothing.
it's
You
an
could just
opinion.
say anything, and it's
Exactly.
fine.
I've been thinking about this for a while because like episodes and episodes and episodes back, we were talking about how like what kind of a personality type does it take to be a politician? Like who actually wants that level of power and control? There must be some subconscious thing of like being a fucking podcaster or someone putting things out online
It's
as well.
pretty narcissistic,
Because
isn't
it's
it?
like exactly, even if we're like, oh no one should listen to this, we're still putting this out into the world. You know?
Our opinion matters. Yours doesn't.
Yeah.
That's true.
And now
That's
comment
true.
in the comments and
We're
tell
gonna
us how
I'm gonna
wrong we are
disable
so
the
we get more
comments of this
engagement.
video. No, sorry, the comments are disabled.
Oh damn! Fuck.
I love how we've put out now more reasons to not listen to the podcast than the reasons that we ever have to listen to the podcast.
We're the anti-podcast.
But you should listen to it because we can talk about topics.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like you have actual documentaries or fictional things that are crafted and curated. And the whole idea of a podcast is most of the time they're not fact-checked. Most of the time it's just people chatting shit. And so it's kind of weird that with the current landscape of media and everything, that just people having a conversation is like on top. You know? People are just yearning for that human interaction.
Jake,
I guess.
this is my second job. Like, please, we need to bring down the barrier. We do a lot of artistic integrity here. You know, it takes a lot to edit this podcast.
You could go and watch like a proper documentary made by the BBC, or just watch me try and convince you guys that Riverdale is a cinematic masterpiece.
You're alone trying to figure
in the
that
famous
one out,
Lost
man.
episode.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
There are cinematic masterpieces that do need to be talked about, and I think that's a thing we need to bring up. You recently watched Barbarian, didn't you, Zach?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle, for that glorious segue. Yeah, that was you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
How long did you spend all night thinking about that one? That was brilliant.
I'm good at them. There was slander in the last one. Fucking Jake told me off for saying that I was bad at them because I even said to Aiden when he was like, nice segue, I was like, this is what we do. We're good at that bit. That's the only good bit we do.
I was about to say you can't prove anything, but the whole point of this is that it's recorded and put online, so you can indeed prove that.
Yeah, Barbarian, what do you think?
Yeah, wasn't a cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, okay.
It got it was a great first 20 minutes that I think I'm going to encourage every young person to try and go out and watch. This is one of those films where I'd say, if you are a young man who is like between the ages of 18 to 25, or even older, you desperately need to see the first 25 minutes. I'm not going to spoil anything about where it goes on, but the basic premise is it's got Georgina Campbell, who was she was the woman in Hang the DJ, the Black Mirror episode.
Oh yes.
Yeah, she's really, really great in
Also
this.
in like All My Friends Hate Me and stuff.
Yeah. And like basically, she turns up at like an Airbnb. It is pissing it down with rain, rough as fuck neighborhood. You're not going to get anywhere else but this one hotel room for the night. And knock on the door. And who opens the door? It's Bill fucking Skarsgård from the It movies. Oh. And it's like, oh yeah, I've also booked this Airbnb. And it's like, but who's going to stay for the night? And it goes on. It was based on this short story called The Gifts of Fear. And it's this very, very like scary thing in regards to, I feel awful for how some women must feel around men now, because this guy's well, in regards to this guy's creepy as fuck, but I can't necessarily say I would have done anything different to how he behaves.
Oof.
Because it was like, I don't even know, like if you watch it, it was kind of just like, oh yeah, come on in, do you want a cup of tea? You sleep in the bedroom. Would you like a glass of wine? Like, please, like, oh, come on in. Like, it was, the whole thing was the most unsettling approach to just like a man trying to be nice, and it just failed.
It's a bit like how like you could sort of film anything in a horror-esque way if you sort of just highlight the sort of things, like even those things that could be perceived as something that you were doing to help someone, if they're if they're received in the wrong way, then it comes across as really creepy and awkward, and don't do that. And that's because I would feel very uncomfortable about all of it, I think.
Yeah.
That's why I just leave. I just walk out into the rain. You wouldn't see me again.
But that was like the thing, it got me thinking, because it was like, I don't really care for the film as much, but I've spent like a couple weeks since I saw it just thinking like, I mean, would I be a dick if someone like turned up in the middle of the night and I said, do you want to come in? Like, can I get you something to drink, like a cup of tea, or like...
I don't think you'd be a dick, it's just like...
It's just because the way like it comes across, it was just... It put me in such an awkward position in regards to... Like, and it doesn't help either that like Bill Skarsgård has just got the most uncomfortably awkward face on the planet. He's a very attractive man, but I can't not look at him and just think he's going to eat the arm of a child.
Yeah.
He does have that effect, even before it, to be fair.
And it just kind of... it just made me think. Yeah.
My experience of Barbarian was only watching bits of it, because I screen checking films and things, and I'll go in, and there wasn't a lot of people that went to go and see it, to be fair, but there was one screening where we had one person in for it, and you have to keep checking it because they might bring out a camera and record the screen. So I go in, and it's a really tense bit, and it's getting like heightening up, and I make a slight bit of noise, and they turn over and they just scream directly at my face. And I felt
They're just there
so
trying
bad.
to enjoy Justin Long's new movie.
I felt so bad, but I was laughing the whole way back to Dropbox. Like, oh no, that is their cinema going experience for the year potentially.
I had a similar thing with James Bond when we had that in last year, because someone came down halfway through the film. It's a fairly long film. Some people like wanted a replenishment of snacks, but our card machine's a bit dodgy, so the payment didn't go through, and they'd already gone upstairs with their snacks, and my boss was like, gave me the torch and was like, go on, go find them. Completely packed screen. And then I'm just like, I have no clue where they are. So I just kind of like try and stand at a certain point. I have to kind of stand there a little while, wait till it's a bright scene, so hopefully I can kind of see everyone. And then I realize that they're like literally right next to me. And so then I just kind of go, oh, hello, sorry, hello, excuse me. And then she just turns around and goes, ah! And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then it's just a sea of heads turning, like, what's going on? I was just like, nothing to see here, toodaloo.
You were their experience of that Bond.
Yeah, the climactic final performance, and that's what they walk away remembering.
Yeah.
I should have worn the mask that Rami Malek wears
I just that's the one thing I think I've started to appreciate about being in a cinema is that there are just things that I might do because I do it every fucking day, just walking back and forth, like into a screen, out of it. If that door shuts slightly too hard, I've impacted their entire film watching experience, and completely by accident. And I know that because even my fucking like leaders and team leaders and shit just do the same thing, and I'm like, oh fuck.
I think that because I think. Do you also think that maybe someone thinks that it's like a part of the film? Because I've always been very conscious about with where like our storeroom is. There's a very loud door that likes to slam on its own. Yeah. And so I'm like, has anyone ever been talking about a film to their friends afterwards like, oh, the jump scare at that point with the loud bang really got to me? And they're just like,
that's not that wasn't in the film.
It was the film's in 4D. They just didn't know.
I've had people come out and be like, hey, why are you taking pictures of us? And I'm like, I have to like slightly explain how a night vision camera works. It's like it's not recording you. I'm just literally looking at you so that I can check you're not. Just please watch the film.
Have you two had moments yet where like you've had to be the cinema police, like you've had to come in and tell people off, or what do you have to do? Give me the stories. Come on. I want to hear like authority Michelle. Come on.
This
like,
was
laying down the law.
Actually quite recent. Our most recent like screen of like Black Panther, one of the most recent ones we did. It would have been like in the past week. It was only like 4 of us on. It was quite a small day. We had barely anyone in. It's just like we have to be open because people might want to watch the film. And this is the only film that day that actually had like more than 20 people in. And there's this woman that comes in. She gets really, really annoyed just off the bat because she can't get a membership working because she can't do it through the till. She have to go online to do it. So she's already annoyed and has bought tickets and then walked out of the cinema. And then she comes back just before the film starts to come and buy some popcorn and a drink. She gets the popcorn. This is my coworker serving her. The one that she'd already shouted at earlier because her membership wasn't working. And she gets the popcorn, gets it in front of her, starts to spill it very intentionally over her, and goes, oops, and said, oh, that's all right, I'll go and fill that up because you got to be nice. Customer service, you know?
Yeah.
Do that. She does that. Absolutely fine. Goes and makes a hot chocolate for her because that's what she asked for. Makes it up. And then she's like, I don't want to deal with it. So walks in the back. And then she throws the hot chocolate at her. She's in the back. I didn't see this because I didn't make enough of a noise for me to notice. So I just let her in to the screen.
So the customer throws it to the...
Yeah. So she's... What? I didn't hear it. I didn't notice it at all. So I just let her in because I'm trying to like not be part of this because we'd already been bitching about them because you bitch about customers when they're being really bitchy. It happens.
Never,
no, I wouldn't do that ever. But they go into the screen. It's fine. And then my coworker comes out and she's like, she just threw a hot chocolate at me. I'm like, what? Sorry? She's like, yeah, she just threw it. And we just look over and it's like, it's no, because she's shut the door behind her and they've thrown it out across. It didn't hit her.
Oh, thank God.
But it's like, you very clearly did that with, if she stood there, she would have thrown it on her. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that's what would have happened. So we have to go in and tell her to leave. We actually don't tell her to leave because our manager tells us not to let her leave, but we give her a warning. She keeps coming in and out the screen just to buy shit. She's actually nice after that point. But her last fuck you.
You have to be on your best behavior.
We have to keep coming in and checking the night vision because you only get one chance. So we have to keep coming in. So a whole night is just going into the screen to watch her just in case. Her final fuck you to us, like a worst person could be, is she's bought this entire bag of popcorn. She's barely in it throughout the entire thing. And we go in as the film's ended and it's all over the floor.
Oh.
Everywhere. It's like people have clearly stood on it. People have gone, what the fuck? Why is that all messy down there? And then we have to just, a whole night is just cleaning up that popcorn.
Have you had people leave you traps yet?
Trapped? What do you mean?
Like an upside down popcorn box. You're like, oh, okay, it's pretty much finished.
Pricks.
Full popcorn box. You lift it up and it just goes
Pricks.
everywhere.
Not yet. I'm hoping that doesn't happen anytime soon. The worst I've had so far wasn't her. It was someone else who dropped an entire ice cream on the floor and let it melt throughout the entirety of a film. It was clearly dropped at the start and just let it melt. Because I came in and it's just a pile of chocolate ice cream all over the floor that you walk through, and it is hardened to the floor.
Oh.
Awful.
No.
Awful.
Nasty.
My story's going to seem a bit anticlimactic to your one now.
Yeah, I was hoping for something funny, not like mid-assault.
It's funny looking back on it, to be fair. I think it's, this isn't the worst thing that could happen, because she didn't throw it over someone, and she's just she just wanted attention or time to make her point. But it's like, come on, what are we going to do about your membership that you have to do online?
I thought a customer died once.
Oh God.
And I was like, do we stop the film? What do we do? Ironically, in Ghostbusters.
Oh, perfect.
So it was like one of the evening showings, and then there were some people who were like, obviously we're in the middle of town, people are going to have come from the pub, and we don't sell our own alcohol on site. And so typically if someone's a bit too drunk, the manager will kind of sort them out and take them out back and shoot them probably. But they weren't like being rowdy or anything. They were just kind of the quiet drunks who were like, yes. And so they go in, they're talking about how excited they are for it, and then they sit down. And then as another customer's going to the loo, I'm just like, oh, how's the temperature in there? And they're like, oh, lovely and warm. There are a few... Someone's snoring a bit though, but other than that, like, it's fine. So I was like, oh, okay. Then the manager's like, oh, Jake, please can you go in and wake them up if they're snoring and they're disturbing other customers. I'm like, oh God, here we go. So I first of all have to try and find who's doing it. So I kind of go in and it feels like all like proper Daredevil. Close your eyes, you see all the sonars and everything. Then finally locate this person snoring, and then kind of like try to be like, I don't really want to touch a customer. I don't really want to do anything, so I'm just kind of like, hello, again. Like, hello, please can you not be doing what you're currently doing? And then they're just completely out of it. So then I go back out to my manager, I kind of ask for a bit of advice, a bit of assistance, because I don't particularly want to touch customers still. And then they hand me a torch, say I'll kind of shine it in their eyes, see what you can do. So then I go back out to them. Snoring's completely stopped. Can't hear breathing or anything. They're just completely like that. And then even the friend next to them pushes them and their head just rolls like that. I was like, oh, fuck. Because beforehand you could see like on their stomach that they were breathing as well. And this was like a heavily inebriated person. And I was just like, I don't fucking know what to do. There's like a Finn Wolfhard on screen. We have to respect the young man. He's working.
You killed a customer.
Yeah, he died.
And so then I was just kind of like, oh my God. So then at that point I was like, it's probably more important to make sure that they're okay, especially as their friend was getting quite worried as well. And so then I was just like, hello, sir. And then they were still like properly being shaken even by their friend, and they were just going like this. And I was like, I've lost my job. I've fucking lost my job. Oh, Jesus Christ, are they okay? And then a few other customers kind of started to look around as well. I was just like, oh my God. So I run out and get my manager who's first aid trained. As soon as he opens the door, the bloke goes, oh, sorry, it was a bit of shit film, innit? And then just leaves.
That reaction.
A+, man. Fair enough, man. I honestly, the thing that took me out of that one for me is the fact that the way that you wake someone up is just by going, hi sir, I hope you're alright.
How are you supposed to...
No, sorry, I love the
flick
idea
him.
that you're
Flick
in
him
bed.
right in the face.
You're in bed with your partner and you wake up just before them and you're like, excuse me, hi, sorry, do you want some breakfast today? No, can you...
The simple thing is just put a
So
finger under their
gentle.
nose and just obstruct their airways. They'll quickly wake up.
I'm sure that I'd not be in line for being sued or anything like that at all. I'm sure
fine.
that would be good customer service.
I mean, you thought they were dead, so I think customer service goes out the window at that point.
If they had been dead, would you have stayed on? Would you
What,
remain
my
there?
job?
Yeah. Would you have stayed or would you have quit?
Well, you didn't kill them.
Yeah, but would it be too traumatic? Like you can't go
hadn't
into
been
screen one
caught.
ever again. Like,
I don't
there
know.
might be a ghost in there.
We need to get Paul Rudd in. I genuinely don't know.
I think I'd be out. I can do it after that point. That would scare me too much.
I'd tell
Yeah.
ghost stories before they went in. I'd be like, yeah, see that. So do you want a middle, front, or back? Hey, guy died in that seat.
Yeah, you're not allowed in that one. Sorry. That's respectful. It's got his name engraved.
Yeah.
Like
down the page for that
especially
one.
because it's such an old building as well. It would be very creepy and good for
Yeah.
ghost stories.
Oh yeah. To be honest, our cinema it really would be.
Yeah. That's why I peer pressure my boss into letting me shoot a horror film there.
Hey,
Oh,
Let's go.
well, from one horror show to another. Have you guys played the new Pokemon yet?
Oh, I wish I hadn't.
Okay, that's a bit far. I actually like the Pokemon like in general.
Yeah, I'll
Horror
give you
show, I thought that was going to be a nice segue into Guillermo del Toro's new series. I have a lot of nice things to say about that. I've been really enjoying it. But no, Pokemon, go for it. You two talk.
Sorry. Okay, you can bring that
It's-
up
it's-
later. We'll just,
it's
we'll go
already
back to
the-
it.
It's already the world's biggest IP. It deserves to be talked about more than some niche little horror series, honestly. I just don't feel like Pokemon's gotten enough airtime.
It
honestly.
deserves
Yeah,
its
no.
time in the sun.
Yeah, it really does.
Do you know Nintendo, the small indie company?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that barely gets any airtime and doesn't have multi-million pounds worth of money to spend on
I hear
making video
Chris
games.
Pratt is a really cool guy.
Yeah, Shigeru Miyamoto said that
Ugh.
himself. Okay, the new Pokemon game, in principle, incredible. Like,
Yeah.
open world Pokemon, actually, and you can just sort of do whatever the fuck you want. That's fucking cool. I just absolutely hate how I have to just adhere to the Switch's standards
Yeah.
for what a game is supposed to look like, because it's not. If you actually
It's-
compare it to every other fucking Nintendo game that exists,
Yeah.
it is such a step down in quality, and like it's clear that Game Freak just don't know how to make a 3D game.
It really is. I mean, I think it's less even that. Like, it's in regards to in the same year, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 can be released as a Game of the Year contender, and that's on the exact same system. I think it is smaller and runs better.
Yeah.
Do you guys mean just in performance of how it runs on the actual thing, or is in
Both.
the game design and everything as well?
No, game design's actually
Game
great.
design's solid. I think
That's
it's
great.
a big step up for where Pokemon's gone.
It's
like,
it's
yeah.
the actual like level design. It looks fucking disgusting. Most of the map is like trying to do interesting things with its terrain, but because
Yeah.
the pop-in is so shit, and there is no way that they've textured anything that doesn't look like it's come from a fucking PS2 game.
Yeah.
It is just
It's-
nothing looks nice to look at, and
No.
you don't want to explore most of the terrain. The hidden bits of like if you want to find a hidden TM or a hidden Pokeballs or anything, that you just know where they are because it's just a big in bit that I built in fucking like Unity in like 2014 when I didn't know how to code. I still don't know how to code. I'd probably build the same thing.
And it's like it's just the simple things as well. Like, I've never ever had in my life a Pokemon game not be able to run in regards to I just leave my bedroom and go and speak to my mum. I played this game, walked down the stairs, mum physically disappeared. She wasn't even the scene. Text for her was popping up, but she wasn't there. The whole thing inverted in colour, and then she popped back in.
I thought you
And it
meant
was just
you
like-
actually talking to your mum.
Oh yeah. She does that all the
very
time anyway.
confused for a moment.
Yeah.
She does that all the time anyway.
Standard
Yeah,
day.
but does that all
No.
the time anyway.
It is just legitimately just sad. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's-
just looking at Breath of the Wild, right? And this is what really annoyed me is looking at Breath of the Wild. I thought, oh yeah, that's like a once in a lifetime thing. Maybe things will get better from there, but the Switch needs to improve for it to be better than that. And
Do
for
you mean
some
improve
reason,
power-wise?
yeah, we need a better Switch
Yeah.
in general. That's fine. But then when everything else has struggled to ever reach that height, like nothing looks as good as Breath of the Wild. Problem with Breath of the Wild is its pop-in is dreadful pop-in.
I disagree with that comment.
Things
Xenoblade
don't
and
po-
Metroid look much better than Breath of the Wild.
I think Breath of the Wild does what Pokemon should be doing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I'm one of the 5 people
Yeah.
that played it on Wii U, so I don't know what it's like on
But
Switch.
it's still the same
You played
thing.
the better version.
It's still the same sort of thing, though, is that
Yeah.
it will pop in, like, maybe 10 meters in front of you. Pokemon's the same. And I don't understand how that is still the case. And Pokemon looks like it's, literally built for the PS2.
But isn't it also like one of the highest selling Pokemon games already?
It
Yeah,
should
10
be,
million
like,
copies.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
It
So
definitely should
do you
be.
think they're gonna learn and be like, oh my
No.
god, that was
No,
kind of like
not a chance. No. 'Cause
This
they've
is
done this
the-
for the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Do they
They've released
patch
it in-
them, or do they just?
No.
Sword and Shield got 1 patch and that was it. And it was just to fix online configuration. That was it.
I
And then
think-
this has apparently going to get one, but it's fixed like 2 frames with the first patch. Like 2 frame increase on the frame rate. That's been about it from what some people have been able to see.
It legit just lags all of the time. It is bad. I think it is a travesty that Nintendo's just get away with this. Like,
You
this is
guys-
the thing. Like, we can just you
Yeah.
can have any Nintendo game ever, and it's probably gonna be
Yeah.
quite a decent game. But the fact that they can get away with a Pokemon game that's doing exactly what everyone has been asking for like years, like an open world Pokemon game where you can just go around and see things flying about and go, I want to catch that. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
They packaged that in with like a game that was like Spore built for the Wii. It looks fucking shit.
But it speaks to kind of like how the whole experience is like a testament to the logistical nightmare that the IP has become.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, the Pokemon company was started just to manage the brand of Pokemon. And we need to have another company to brand and just to manage it again, because now Pokemon isn't just allowed to be a game. It's not allowed to have the 5 years it might need in the oven. It's only allowed 2 or 3 because its release has got to correspond with what's going on in the anime. It's got to correspond with the merchandising releases and what we're going to do with the trading card game, because those are the 3 most popular things that make money for the brand, and that's why it's never allowed to be its thing.
I think
Someone needs.
this is the biggest thing, is that Pokemon isn't just what Nintendo want it to be, which is its game. It is the worldwide phenomenon where everyone knows
Yeah.
Pokemon. Even if you don't play it. Like, you don't play it, Jake, and you know Pokemon.
Yeah.
You know?
Like a what?
But, like, this is the
Yeah.
point, is that everyone will have some affinity to a Pokemon game in any way, or even if they just have passively enjoyed something to do with it. So, for that to be their flagship title, they know they can get away with this sort of stuff. And it's not even that, like, I'm trying to say that graphics are everything, because they aren't. Again, I would recommend this game to anyone. Play the fucking Pokemon game. It is a good Pokemon game.
It's
It
my
just
favorite in
fucking-
years.
Yeah, it just absolutely fucking sucks that is the lowest bar
Yeah.
that they have to jump over, is giving us what we want.
I'd argue against it being Nintendo's flagship though, because I'd still say the biggest selling point for the Switch is Tetris 99.
You're
Oh,
alone. You're alone
yeah.
on that. I'm
No, I
sorry.
agree with that,
You're
agree with
just
that. It's pretty
fully alone.
There's at
The
least
biggest-
98 other people that I can confirm at any given time.
What's really annoying is Nintendo are in a big, like, everyone hates Nintendo phase again, which they do every 6 months. You know, every time they release a game, everyone hates them, and then everyone still bought it anyway.
Oh no, Kirby was very good this year. Kirby fans, we ate good.
Yeah,
we had a good.
yeah,
we
you
had a
guys
good
got
year.
lucky. You got
We
lucky.
had a very
That's
good year.
it. But fucking Pokemon was shit. Also, Pokemon was shit earlier in the year. Even though that
Yeah.
earlier Pokemon game was also one of the best Pokemon games I ever played.
Yeah, that was as a complete just hearing other people's stuff. I heard that, is it Arceus?
Yeah, Arceus
Yeah.
Legends Arceus
I heard
is
that was one of the best
fucking
ones.
insanely good. And this one
And
is
it's-
like
yeah.
trying to build on that sort of thing, and it just didn't really work. And now they're getting in shit with Smash community again, which they like to do every fucking 6 months.
Yep.
And they're annoying people with, you know, the Mario Kart 8 releases. They had to fix Coconut Mall because they fucking
Yep.
half-assed that one. Like,
That's because it's from the mobile game.
yeah, they just fucking
It's-
they don't care as a company, and we get away with just that.
I think they care, but I just think they're not in a position to address this as should happen. Like, based on like what these IPs now are.
Yeah.
Because also you think of Nintendo and like Mario and everything, they're the most, not in like an unprofessional sense, but they almost feel the most homemade, where there's so much passion and love that's gone into them.
They should be.
And you can feel that in this game. Like this has been, since I started the new job, like this has been the number one thing that's been the most traded in thing. Just people constantly bring it in, like didn't care for it, it was broken, not going to play it. And every single person I've spoken to, it's like, oh, what did you think of the characters? What did you think of the new Pokemon? I think they're really, really great. And most people are just like, I don't care. Like, I didn't get a chance. It wasn't working. I'm not going to play it. And it just completely overshadows
It's the
what's
Fallout 76
a great new
riddle.
step. Yeah.
Like, Fallout 76 could have been an incredible sort of masterpiece in what Bethesda's lineup was. Like, that could have been the one that people go, oh, yeah, Fallout. That's that game that I can play with my friends and live in, you know? And that didn't happen because they fucked it up on the release. They did a really bad job at creating the RPG aspect that was Fallout. And then they just said, fuck it, we'll make a battle royale out of it.
Excuse me, Michelle. I thought this was a podcast of 3 very happy Fallout first subscription.
Oh yeah, sorry. I've got many victory royales in.
Perfect, thank you.
Does that even exist? Their battle royale anymore?
I think they've taken it out, haven't they?
Yeah, they had it for a while and then I think they cancelled it.
I don't know. No clue, to be honest.
It's fucking weird. Either way.
You got. Sorry, this is a total pivot. Just a quick aside. Are you guys excited for Starfield?
I actually kind of am.
I'm take it or leave it. If I
Really?
can get a chance to play it, great. If not, there will be a shit ton of other things next year that I will be very excited to play instead.
Starfield to me looks like the thing that Bethesda needed. They needed something else to go, I'm interested in this, which they haven't
more than
got.
just like an Elder Scrolls and Fallout.
I don't
machine.
think they're interested in Elder Scrolls, and I don't think they're interested in Fallout. Based on those two games, fucking 76, and we haven't had an Elder Scrolls game since Skyrim.
Have we heard any more about the Indiana Jones game?
That's not Bethesda.
I think
is
they said something last week. Like I think Todd Howard was saying like, oh, they want it to be different to anything they've ever made. But other than that, I haven't heard a thing.
Fuck knows. Either way,
I mean, no.
They needed that sort of move on to something else, and because it has however many millions of planets, hopefully they actually feel like planets rather than what No Man's Sky does, and it's just like an open world of little bit, and then you're gonna only go to like a tiny area and then walk away. I
There's
want
the
like
bit that
multiple
worried me.
cities on a planet.
Yeah, that was the thing that worried me when they said it's however many thousand or whatever the number was planets, where it was then suddenly like, oh, okay, so how much? What's going to be on each of them? Is it just going to be a whole planet of you get like a few resources? Is there actually going to be? I don't know. That's when it started to become more than just. I don't know. I quite like especially in those kinds of games. Obviously, the finding the adventure, but all the authored stories and all the different ways of how to get there.
They don't think. I don't think they understand that they're at their best when they're doing a really just intricate interior. Like the best things Bethesda's have ever done are kind of like the small, like the college levels in Skyrim, or like the pit DLC in Fallout 3. Like kind of just when they really layer it into like an area that you've got to go through instead of just. I mean, I love walking around Skyrim. Don't get me wrong, but like it doesn't compare to like when I'm in. I'm fucking in. Like it's the whole reason the Forgotten City is as big as it is because.
Oh, I fucking love that. Yeah.
I'm a sucker and got really into Fallout 4. Like really into Fallout 4.
Same.
And I know it's not the best Fallout game, and I know every Fallout fan will tell me it's shit, but I genuinely enjoyed what I did of Fallout 4. And
Like, especially the Far Harbor DLC, because it's
Far
like
Harbor
what you were
was
saying
so
of it, because it was a smaller space. Like, yeah, it was the biggest one they've ever had in a DLC or whatever, but because it was a smaller space, they could really utilize that and then just craft a whole load of different things within it instead of needing to worry about.
But this is what I think will be great about Starfield, is it might do what Outer Worlds sort of couldn't do, where Outer Worlds feels like you're just going to jump from city to city or little instance to instance, whereas Starfield, you might literally be able to go anywhere and do something and then come back. And if that is the case, and if there's like literal bits that maybe people will never see, like apparently they've been working on this for like over like what 10, 12 years.
I don't trust that anymore.
I don't trust that half the time.
When Cyberpunk was supposedly in development for 13
True.
years.
You're right. But
I
do you know
don't
what?
trust that shit at all.
I trust it a little bit with Bethesda because Bethesda don't release games.
The only reason I trust it at all is now the fact that Daddy Phil is now sat on the shoulder saying, we spent quite a few $1 billion to have you come and join the family.
Yeah.
You better not fuck up again.
But also, it's Bethesda. I think anyone's gonna buy anything. This is the problem. It's the same thing as fucking Nintendo. These big names just give you legitimacy, right? And this is the whole point of the Nintendo seal of approval, is that this is worth your buying. This is what saved video games in the crash. Like, that is Nintendo were that flagship that did all of this stuff. And now we just go, oh, Bethesda, they are big. I'm gonna buy their game. Oh, Activision, that's a fun, Call of Duty game. I'm gonna play that one.
Activision made the Transformers games, though. So
True. And then they gave up on them and mostly privated half of them.
Don't bring that up. Don't bring it up.
This
Unless
is
if you want me to talk for 2 hours about the rise of the beasts, don't bring it up.
But it just it's why I fell out of love with video games for so long, and I still don't think I'm fully there anymore. I genuinely like this Pokemon game, and I would literally, if you are on the
There's
fence
so much
about
it that is so great.
If you're on the
give
fence
it,
about
give
it,
it a few
buy
months, it will be hopefully there.
No, it won't.
I really hope it will.
I
Or at least
fully
people
think
will
this
get
is
it
what
working in
it'll
other
be.
places.
Oh, it
there'll
does
be
work
means,
in other places.
Like there'll be means for me to play it on the Switch effectively. Like that will eventually.
A lot of the things though in it.
I'm
like,
not a guy.
I'm not a guy.
a lot of it is hardwired into the game though. You know, like how if there's like more than 4 people on screen, everything goes 5 like frames per second in the background. It looks fucking disgusting because of it, but it's because they don't give a fuck, and they're never gonna fix that. That's hardwired into it. If you get an emulator, which don't ever get an emulator, but if you get an emulator,
Eek,
that is
emulation.
we have seen that it does the same
She
thing
said the
on
curse
PC.
word.
It does the same thing on PC. It's just broken. I think it's worth a purchase if you genuinely want to play a Pokemon game, and it is. You will get so much out of it. It is exactly what Pokemon you want from a Pokemon game.
This is complete. Please don't attack me, layman talking about Pokemon game here. From an outsider, I obviously have no clue of the differences between each one. Are there more differences between each Pokemon game than there are each new FIFA game?
Yes,
Yes.
because at least they
100%.
add new characters.
You get a
I
story.
think they do
You'll
that
get.
in FIFA. I don't know about FIFA.
True, yeah.
FIFA definitely doesn't add new characters. I can tell you that.
You'll get at least a brand new gimmick that will change up the meta of the battle for like 6
Yeah.
months. Yeah.
Yeah, but then they're
Before
always
then, everyone pretends it doesn't exist, and then they just go back to the regular. So.
Yeah, they're also always shit.
Oh, Mega Evolutions is pretty great.
Then it just became that was Gigantamax again.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they were the same
Z moves
thing,
were fun.
right?
Z moves were fun.
We hated Gigantamax, but we like Mega. Why? They're the same thing.
Mega had cool design. That's a rabbit hole we could spend all day in. Yeah.
This is just the Terrestrialize is just so stupid, and I think it is the most dumb thing. It just feels like a gimmick to change battle to go, oh look, there's a bit more of like, you need to sort of plan something ahead of time. It's like, no, it's turn-based combat. You get lucky.
But that's what they're kind of like very big about supplanting at the moment. It's like we have to be able to give the illusion of change because Pokemon's never stopped being that turn-based RPG. And it's a very rigid battle system that they just don't have the resources to change. So now they have to be able to think, oh yeah, it's slightly changed with this new release. Like you can do this to your Pokemon now, but...
I only played Final Fantasy 15 because it was a boy band. When I played Final Fantasy 15, I really liked the idea that you can just sort of jump between these characters and play their moveset. And that's really cool battle system, and that could easily be what Pokemon does.
Again, you said the curse word. You said Final Fantasy 15. Broke out in hives.
My next statement moves on from Pokemon. Are you guys done with
Yes,
Pokemon?
please.
Yeah, we're
I'm
done with Pokemon. Don't worry.
I'm done. Go ahead.
Michelle, if you need to fall back in love with games again, have you played ever since Zach mentioned it, my brain's not stopped thinking about it, The Forgotten City?
No, what is it?
Oh.
I almost think I think it's best served her not knowing a thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Just go. The only thing I'll tell you is that it used to be a modded level in Skyrim,
Yeah.
and it was
then they
good
were like,
enough. Yeah, like we got to
yeah,
make a
this
game
is
out of
so
this.
good. Yeah. Because that, again, being as spoiler-free as possible, even just like the writing alone is just some of the best writing I've ever seen in any medium. Especially the fact that it's interactive. And it's the one of the only games, like, if ever a game touts that it has multiple endings, I'm like, cool, I'll get one of them. I might Google what the others are. This is the first one where I got to one of the endings and I was like, I have to fucking know what the others are. Yeah. And then I just kept playing and kept playing.
It's one of those games where honestly, like, I don't make games, but if I ever had to like write a seminar on games you have to study, that would be one of them, because I think it's just a resource for people who would ever want to make them, or just for writers in general. It's that strong a piece.
Okay.
Zach, have you got all the endings on it?
No, unfortunately not. It's not something I've had the full time to commit to. One day though, one day.
That's good.
I'll put that on the list. It's worth a go. I mean, again, like my biggest problem with video games as it stands is I don't feel like anything is new anymore.
Is that they're toys for children?
Yeah. I mean, I played Valorant.
is-
That's the biggest toy for children as there could be. But there's like
I kind of-
there's nothing really new that comes out anymore.
I mean, I feel that yes and no, because I'm feeling that massively with the new God of War.
Okay.
Like extremely. Like I've played from a gameplay level. If you've played 2018, you've played this. Like the
Oh
only
yeah, but I wanted that.
only difference in regards to it is like what they did with just like Last of Us Part 2. It was like there's some fluidity added, and it's like that should have just naturally been there from the start.
Fair.
Like there's interesting ideas on how like there's someone else that you play as at points, and there's something cool there, but I can't really say because that's a spoiler. But
I saw some little bits of gameplay. I know that you can play as Atreus sometimes, but
yeah, that's kind of where they do some cool things with
Bruh.
him. Sorry,
it's
bro.
not that much. It's just it's Atreus.
It's weird because like as it was building up to the release of it, like I'm still trying to get through. Like obviously played the 2018 one. I literally borrowed Michelle's PlayStation to play that.
I
and The
will-
Last of
I-
Us 2.
Said it so many times to people that if they want to play God of War, if I know you, I'll give you my PlayStation to play it because I think it's the fucking best game, like one of the best games ever made.
And then I then played through the first one, the second on Vita, and then I'm currently going through the third one. And so I was like really trying to finish it before the release of Ragnarok because I was really worried about spoilers everywhere. And it just kind of felt like it was really building up to the release of Ragnarok, and then it's just kind of like
Yeah,
doesn't feel like anyone's really talking about it. So I feel like I'm safe for a little while.
yeah, you are a little bit.
I think this is the biggest problem with what the PS5 was sort of hedging its bets on not having, with the fact that like it all released in such a weird way that never felt like there was a release of the PS5 or the Xbox One. Or Xbox One X.
Series
Like,
X.
Series X, that's it. They just sort of are out now. You could get them, but you have to wait in line.
It feels like when a new phone model comes out or something, it's like it's available if you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels very weird because it means that like everyone's like, "Oh, I'm excited to play God of War. That's gonna be cool." I don't have a PS5 though. I forgot that they were out, and I have to wait months before they come on release again.
It's
You
on
don't
PS4
need
though.
you don't need a PS5 for it.
Yeah, but
I
I don't
played it
want
on
to play it
PS4.
on PS4. I want to
It
play
plays
it on
exactly
PS5.
the same. I've played it on both.
Honestly, it'll
it's
look
just-
nicer.
Yeah, it'll look nicer, but
It'll look nicer, and the load times will be 5 seconds.
It will, like, yeah, the load times, but the thing, like, it will look nicer on a side-by-side comparison. But when
Oh.
you're just playing the game, you're playing the game.
I've been
literally.
playing games for what 13 years on PC. I've noticed differences in graphics pretty well.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, it's in so many ways it's fantastic, and then in other ways it's kind of like okay, like the first game in regards to how like I was so equally connected in regards to like beautiful story moment entwined with gameplay. Like I haven't
Yeah.
like my favorite moment in that first game is like when it's him and Athena and he gets the Blades of Chaos and it's like I'm no longer your monster, and then you just fucking let loose with those blades that you've wanted to play with again. And so far, there's never been a moment like that. There's great story moments, but there's never been one where it complements the other.
Fair.
And so I'm just looking at it for story, and it does it's some brilliant performances in it. They do very interesting things with Thor and Odin. Like,
I saw one person saying, it was like a game reviewer who I used to watch quite a lot, that like it's a really good game if you sort of take the time and play through those extra missions, because they sort of fleshed out the world a lot more than they did in God of War. So
there's
those
a hell
extra
of a lot more with the realms. Hell of a lot more.
extra story missions, those extra like side quests. There's literal like 2-hour quests about one guy that you never really meet.
Yeah.
But that's some of the best writing that there is, and that could be what I'm hoping for from God of War. Is that the biggest thing I had was that half of the realms I really wanted to explore more of, but I was funneled into a system I had to carry on going down, and that's fine because that's what Kratos' mind goes. It goes.
Yeah.
I have one solitary thing. I'm going to follow that, and I think if we're going through and trying to open his mind to, his relationship with his child, given the ending of God of War, it makes more sense that he takes that time to, interact with the world more. And I want to see more of these realms and see more of the way that they're doing this stuff.
Some stunning looks.
Because the 2018 one is one of the first examples that I go to. Like, I was having a conversation with my dad talking about, like, there are just stories that video games can tell better. There are things that are in that even if you adapt it into something else, that you miss completely. So I was using the God of War as an example of, like, when you go down into Helheim, and then you can no longer use the bow and arrow, like, with Atreus because you're going down to get him. Like, that's something where it's not the game yelling at you like, you're missing Atreus. It's then suddenly it's something that you find yourself where it's just like, oh fuck. Yeah. I could do that, and now that I can't, and then there's this narrative reason to it, and it just adds to it so much.
I think that's the thing, is a lot of games miss that, right?
Yeah.
They don't know how to tie gameplay to the story. It's why, for me, the best game that's ever been released is Portal, and it's the worst story in the world.
How dare you?
Portal does not have a good story. You cannot. It's just a woman gets.
Jesus Christ, Michelle, you could have honestly, you could have put that one a bit more gentle. That was like a knife to the fucking heart.
Let's be real. Portal 1. What story is there? I'm gonna go through these fucking puzzles, and then the robot's gonna kill me, so I'm gonna kill the robot instead.
Oh, please.
That's the story.
Jesus Christ, that took years off my life,
That is the story. There are bits in the world that sort of tell you more about the character. That's fine. But it's nothing that actually you interact with that in a movie would get highlighted better. Right? If you want to talk about Chell's childhood and how she's linked to this space, which it does really well if you look for it, then you could do that in a movie a lot better than you do in the actual game. I think that's the difference between how games do that sort of thing, which is why I struggle to find many games that do have a good story, which is why God of War stands out to me so much.
Oh, we're gonna leave that one for another day because I've not got the energy to spend half an hour rebuttaling that.
I'm sorry. That's just, I think games don't have as good a story most of the time. They struggle because you have to do a lot more to
play the Forgotten City.
Yeah. Second what Jake said.
Fine.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to say that to disregard your opinion.
But it's like, that's RPGs. That's you bringing your character to a space and doing your own thing, which is why I liked Fallout 4, because the story that I told for my character is better than the one that Fallout 4 told.
I'll say this though, God of War is gonna win some hella awards. In regards to, I didn't see a reality where I didn't vote Christopher Judge as best actor, but honestly, I voted for, I'm gonna butcher his name, Sonny Hulsick, Atreus.
Oh right, yeah.
He's fantastic in this.
Oh good.
He has grown into a little leading man himself.
Oh.
Because did you hear about some of the stuff they had to do? Because obviously his voice broke during production, so with AI they had to lower some of the lower the dialogue of the earlier takes before it broke and stuff. And that's kind of just shows how long and vast game development is.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so nicely sort of like split between the two, because you had that dichotomy in the first one where it's like, I don't want you to be me, but it's going to happen anyway. Whereas in this one, it's like, Kratos is like, I don't want you to have this fight, because if you do it, you're going to become me. And then the kid's like, I mean, they wrote on a fucking wall that this was going to happen anyway. We have to go on this quest, like, and we're just wasting time, and we're just going to make things worse if we don't.
True.
It's just... And I think, like, what they do with 4, it's the definitive take now. I will never look at another take of 4 and think that's a better
What
take.
do you
or
mean?
Odin.
Thor Love and Thunder didn't do it for you?
Yeah.
That's insane.
There's
Is
just
Korg in God of War?
Heimdall's in it.
Heimdall is actually a guy in...
Yeah. The goats don't make an appearance.
Oh, well, then
Thank
what's the
God.
point?
You just know Kratos would fucking demolish those goats, though.
He'd rip them apart as soon as they screamed once. Actually, I don't know. Kratos changed quite a lot.
Oh, and that's that. And you'll feel that in this game,
Yeah.
because there's like so many moments where it's just like, do you want to make me mad? Do you want to make me the man I was? Like, fucking walk away if you don't.
I saw someone saying, like, you know how PlayStation have had, like, flagship characters? They've been struggling for a few years to figure out who that is. Like, Nintendo have Mario quite prominently, and fucking Microsoft have Master Chief. That's fine. But PlayStation had, what was it? Crash Bandicoot,
Crash,
Jak and Daxter, Nathan Drake.
Sackboy, maybe.
Sackboy for a bit, but it was definitely Nathan Drake. And now it's probably Kratos.
Say Kratos and Ellie, probably.
I'd say Abby over Ellie.
I think it's Kratos. Because Kratos has gotten that, like, huge
Aloy?
push.
Aloy,
No,
yeah.
Yes, not that
Aloy
I've
is
played the games,
definitely
but-
not the top. I think people will associate PlayStation with Kratos more than they do anyone else.
Well, yeah, because obviously he's the machine now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Whereas,
gone
like,
over so many.
with The Last of Us just feels like that game that people really loved. Rather than that PlayStation game that people really loved.
I'm going to rescind my statement. I don't think Abby's the character to represent PlayStation. She's the character for gaming to cite whenever it has to rebuttal that argument that we are art. Like,
Yeah.
that's what she
I
is.
can go with that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of games that should be put to that sentiment, but I can get behind that. I think we're
Actually, what the fuck? Like, we mentioned The Last of Us and we didn't even talk about that new trailer.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
see that? That looked pretty as fuck.
I thought it was a parody when that song started playing.
Oh, I was in love with that. I was so happy they played that.
I saw loads of side-by-side comparisons and stuff of, like, different bits. They've literally done it so faithfully. Like, there are bits that are just shot for shot.
Yeah.
That's a bit that kind of, like, I have full faith. I'm really excited for the show. But in something that's, in an adaptation, that's normally what I don't look for. I look for where they've actually made it their own.
But I think it needed to... It's trying to bring this story to more people, right? And people know the story of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
They needed to show the story of The Last of Us, and I think if they can do that in a way that feels faithful to people, and like everyone's seeing those shot by shot bits, like the fact they look similar, the fact that it feels like that world still, that's what's needed. That
think
needs
it's
to happen
also-
for that.
It's going to do the whole, like, in regards to, like, we've already seen it, and this will be the same narrative, but it won't be the same language that tells it. Like, I already think some of the lines in just that trailer were better than some of the lines in the original game. Like,
Probably acted better slightly as well, because Pedro Pascal can just carry himself in such an incredible way.
like, I'm not family to you? No, you're cargo. That was like, oh, jeez, you've won the dynamic already. That's perfect. It's recaptured in a bottle.
Michelle, thank you for talking so highly about my husband. It's greatly appreciated. I'll pass it on to him.
Okay, yeah.
Poor man. Poor busy man.
He is
What is-
everything at the minute. Fucking
Yeah,
He
good
is.
grief,
He doesn't
yeah.
stop. I mean, once we get the new Mandalorian season early next year,
It's February, isn't it?
something like that, very early. I need to watch Andor. Actually, I tried to
Andor's
start
fucking
it earlier.
incredible.
I heard
haven't
that's
seen a thing yet.
incredible.
I need to start planning my video essays more. But like, I'm literally watching Andor, and I'm just like taking notes as I'm watching. Then I'm suddenly like, oh, I have a very, very long video essay here. It's good
Sell me.
shit.
Sell me, get me to care, because I've heard so many different things. Like, why? Why should I care?
My mind's not currently in the headspace of Andor. I'm about to go on a different segue
Oh, fair.
to get it onto staged. But,
Yeah, fuck it, yeah,
no,
yeah.
But no, we're gonna stay on Andor for a little second because
Yeah.
I will say the reason that I want to watch Andor, and I think I'm in the same space as you, is that I've seen a lot of different people go like, "Why should I care? Why should I do it?" And the reason that I am specifically wanting to watch it now is the amount of people saying to me that this is exactly what Star Wars fans have been wanting.
It's a point that I literally wrote into the script like 2 days ago for the essay, where it's like, out of pretty much all of the Star Wars shows currently, this feels the most on paper. Why is this being made? It's like a prequel to a prequel of the spin-off or what have you. And so it feels like the most, or at least when I first heard that it was being made, I was like, okay, sure. But it's the way that it fleshes out the universe and the world and actually shows you things within it that you've not seen before, and actually shows you on the ground rebellion, and actually has some incredible character development, because it doesn't comment, like the show itself doesn't go, oh, this is a really bad thing. It just shows you all these different characters, and the fact that it is so vast in its scope is amazing that it's been made on television. But it actually has a message behind it. It feels like it has an artist expressing themselves. And that's the thing that I feel like I've really missed from a lot of recent releases of things, is actually having an artist saying something, instead of it being a product of, here's an AI-generated recreation of a childhood action figure. It feels like it's actually, let's tell a story with meaning, to me at least.
That's good.
I've heard it's massively anti-Nazi. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think to be anti-Nazi is a pretty good one.
Very good.
Show that
Beautiful.
to fucking Kanye right away.
Hell yeah. Does it?
Yeah.
Does it like operate in like? Because I think my favorite thing in Rogue One is just that moment where he's got that informant and it's just like, I'm not going to be able to get you to climb, I'm going to gun you down just immediately. Like, is it kind of that sort of shades of grey? Because if it is, then I'm in. I've just heard it's like some cool hijinks.
I was about to say something then, but it's very much spoilers. But it's like each character has their own motivation for why they're there. And then you kind of don't know who's lying, who's not. There is, because it's essentially getting Cassian Andor to the point where he's on that beach and he's ready to lay down his life, because at the minute he's kind of like a bit of a Han Solo type.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's then, I mean, if anyone's going to get you to do that, it's Stellan Skarsgård, and he's essentially just there like, do you actually want your life to mean something? Do you want it to be worth it? Like, fight for something.
Yeah.
It's good shit. It's
I'm
good shit.
excited.
Hell yeah.
I want to watch that.
Is he going to make it more than a season? You've sold me. Sold me.
Okay, good.
If Stellan Skarsgård is there for more than one season, I will sit and watch it.
Yeah. He's fantastic in it. Absolutely fantastic.
I mean, did you doubt any less than the man who made Mamma Mia? Like, the best part of Mamma Mia? And Mamma Mia, here we go again.
How dare you? Lily James stole that show.
We're going to throw hands, Michelle. You're putting down takes this episode that I cannot handle.
Talking about fighting over Zoom calls, Michelle,
Hey!
I think you've watched Staged.
Yeah. Perfect. Nah, this feels like a stage episode already.
It was an idea to moot around.
Yeah. So no, you not guys haven't watched series 3 yet, have you?
Not watched series 3.
Well,
no.
Zach, you've not watched any of it.
Didn't know it existed.
Shame.
It's insane to me. You have not watched. You not even knew about it.
Thought it was just a clip thing. That was it.
It was the best thing to come out of lockdown, I think. Outright, I just think.
So
it's
do you
one of the-
prefer it to Bo Burnham?
Oh, forgot about that. She's about to make a take that she can never take back.
Be
sure about it.
You don't need it. Okay, you don't need to gas me up like this. All right. I will say, I think Boburn's Inside is one of the best pieces of art ever created. But if you want something that actually you will want to consume more often than not, then Staged is that. They're both equally as
cop
good.
out answer.
In a way.
Which one? Which one?
Which one?
Decide, rank,
Inside
objectify.
is better. Inside is art. I will say
Staged
that.
Isn't. So
Staged-
you're devaluing comedy, Michelle. Why do you think that?
I'm not devaluing comedy. It's a comedy, literal comedy special. But Staged is one of the best things to come out of lockdown then, and it quite literally is just to go, oh yeah, you like them in Good Omens, then here's them being an old married couple.
I won't like it then, because I found Good Omens insufferable.
Well, they're not playing the Good Omens characters. They're just playing Michael and
Sheen
David.
as
Thank God.
Michael Sheen.
And Georgia Tennant is fucking great in it. What's it? I
Amen.
can't remember Michael Sheen's girlfriend's name. It's constantly lost on me, but Anna something in it. Either way, she's
Google. I'm gonna Google.
she's very good as well. It just feels like an actual like two families just coming together and just making something because they wanted to make something, and the BBC just sort of gave them that money and went and did it. First season's fucking good and succinct and nice. Second season feels like it added to it in a way that gave you a letdown to lockdown. Like, it's done. Lockdown's done. We can get outside and take off our masks and be happy.
Zach, before you get confused, yes, he was once married to Sarah Silverman.
I was gonna say he was once married to Kate Beckinsale. I mean, I like Michael
He's
Sheen.
been around, man.
That's fucking punching above your weight. I like Michael Sheen. He's an attractive man, but
Michael Sheen.
jeez.
Zach, I know how to sell you on the show, though.
How?
In Series 2, there is indeed Whoopi Goldberg.
True. She's in that.
I'm in. Right, where do we start? I play Finally Have a Use. I'm in.
So is James Judy Dench, actually. She's in it.
Dame Judi Dench.
It's
good old
very
Judy.
funny, and it's just nice to have that sort of something that just felt like what we were going through at the time, right? And the reason that the ending of season 2 is so good is that it sort of let down and went, hey, look, we're getting out, we're safe now, it's gonna be okay, we can get on with our lives again. So series 3 getting a trailer and going, yeah, we're gonna come out with this entire thing. It's like, oh, what do you know? Is there going to be another COVID? That's the thing we get scared of immediately. And then we're okay. Nothing's happened just yet, although all of my coworkers currently have COVID. So, potentially. It is a harbinger of June, isn't it? Staged is just predicting things.
It's the great equalizer.
So, Stage Season 3 is essentially just going, what if we did a third season of it? What would it look like?
That is
And
how
then-
third series tend to work.
Yeah.
It's
But no,
revolutionary.
that's the whole point of the show, is them figuring out what that looks like rather than what it is. And
Don't
then,
you usually spend some
So a
time in a
bit-
writer's room working that out?
oh no,
So is it a
because
bit like the Community finale?
a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's only the first 2 episodes are written for that sort of, like, has been written the first 2 episodes, and then the next X amount are going into the Christmas Carol of fucking telling a story, and it ends on them going, oh yeah, that's it, we're done, this dynamic is over, and it is so
Until
sweet.
Good Omens Series 2.
Yeah, but like this sort of old married couple dynamic is done. It is entirely a Christmas special of a series, and it feels so sweet.
No.
Like, it did not need to exist based off of that ending, because it just feels like the end of what lockdown was, and it felt like that was it. We can go on, we can move on from Stage. And then they managed to justify why it needed to exist in the first 2 episodes, continued to do incredible and like actual face-to-face moments, and then it ended with that moment of, now we're done.
That's one of the things that I loved so much about the first two, is that you can just tell not only like their absolute passion projects, but they were so funny and accessible, where like as I was watching them in like the lockdowns, different housemates would come in at different points and would all be laughing along. We'd just be like rewatching episodes, quoting it throughout like the day and stuff. It's just endlessly watchable.
I think you can watch that at any point, and it's the barometer of how good a lockdown thing can be, is if you can watch that and not think about lockdown.
I know at the very start of this Urgent Rewrite episode, I completely slandered the very idea of podcasts. But have you two listened to David Tennant's podcast?
Yes. I recommended you it.
Good. Did you?
Yeah. It is a fucking incredible podcast. I want him to do more.
It's good shit.
I really hope he can. He does do more, but probably not, considering he's the Doctor again.
Is his kid on it?
His kid, Ty.
Yeah, is he on it?
He's in season 3 of Staged. I don't think he's in...
He's
he was
cool.
on his
I like him.
podcast.
I'll watch it for him.
Yeah. Fair.
Because he was in Game of Thrones, wasn't he?
Oh boy, he was in Game of Thrones, yeah.
Was he a major role in it?
Yeah, for the 2 episodes he was in.
Oh.
He got very, very naked and did a very uncomfortable thing. It was like, oh, okay, didn't expect that to come out of nowhere, but fair enough.
Oh. Wow.
Well, okay.
Google that, you'll be in for a surprise.
I don't really want to. I think he's only 18.
Yeah, even so, that's why it's more terrifying. It's just like... Seems like a cool bloke, though. Fair enough.
Seems like alright. He seemed good in the show. Either way, I think Stage is worth watching. It's comedy done how comedy should be done now, right? It built up these characters of David and Michael in a way that felt so real, whilst also being just obviously caricatures of who they are. And they got to just play off of each other in a way that felt so poetic and just interesting, which you don't really get in a lot of comedies like now, you know? Can't think of many comedies that feel that tightly written.
Yeah.
It felt so nice.
That's still tightly written. Like, maybe started, but have flown off.
Yeah. Even, like, literally the final episode of Staged is them recreating A Christmas Carol. But it is written in such a way where they're doing that, and the whole story is about them doing the Christmas Carol to each other and giving and ending up on each other to move away. It feels like the end of it all. It's like a double entendre of Christmas carols, and I think it's just so fucking well written because of it.
But is it as good as the Muppet Christmas Carol?
Yes, because half the time they cut out that one song that is actually integral to the plot.
I'm done with the slander, Michelle. I'm done with it.
You know I'm right. It's in the VHS version. It's not in any of the others. They cut it out.
I'm done with it, Michelle. It was a nice run. I won't be here again next week.
Sorry, we'll get a guest in.
Michelle, we've come on a nice, calm Sunday evening, and you hit us with this.
Yeah.
You're missing out on the one song.
Go away and think about what you've done. I hope Santa brings you coal for Christmas. And COVID.
How dare you? I could die from that.